This is the BBC.
This podcast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Back in 2012, you may remember a young woman coming on stage, she was just 20 at the time, and singing her own song at an X Factor audition. Well, the judges went crazy, the nation went crazy, and 240 million Spotify streams and 50 million YouTube views later, Lucy Spraggan is back with a new album.
On the ceiling in my bedroom, they would glow up in the dark. I had no idea that you and I were still light years apart. Well, stars don't look like that, at least they don't to me. As I grew older, I noticed less and less.
Who's on keys?
Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Lovely Josh. Who
Thank you, Josh.
An avid Liverpool supporter.
Oh, yes, I know. You're surrounded by Liverpool fans,
I am
aren't you?
actually. They're all they're on the edge of their seats.
And the three of us, was it Andy as well, was it?
Darren.
Darren, there you go,
Yeah.
Darren, there you go. I'll get the names right in a minute. Darren and Josh and I were having this conversation, and then you kind of looked over us and were like, what are you three talking about?
Honestly, we play every single time an important match is on, we're playing a show, and he sits there like on his phone before we go on stage. He is Liverpool through and through.
Yeah, so we had Loyal Kana on the show yesterday because, well, we had him on last week, the day of Liverpool losing 3-0 to Barcelona. And Loyal Kana, the rapper, is a huge Liverpool fan.
Oh, right.
So he did his show. So he did an early show. And then there's this break for like 2 hours.
Oh.
And then a late show. So he could watch. See, Josh is understanding this.
Yeah.
He knows that this is. Whereas I'm feeling that if your team were to say, look, Lucy, have you got a gig on the 1st of June, do you know?
Do we have a gig? No, not so far. Oh,
Coming
yeah,
back
we
from
have
Austria.
a show
Okay.
in Austria the day before.
Right.
So I'm going to have to fly Josh back, I think.
So you've got a day off.
Yes.
Right, and you'll be in Austria. But you're going to come back. Because it is important. I mean, I understand your career in music is important to you, but I'm thinking that, Josh, you may be without key player if you were doing a gig on the 1st of June.
I think, actually, I do. I agree with you. I might have to find a dep. I'll get him back. I'll get him back for you guys.
Now, the video for Lucky Stars, I mean, what's it like wandering around? What city were you in?
It was Bolton.
Right, what's it like wandering around Bolton in a spacesuit?
It was. Do you know what? I expected to get like funnier looks, but I think in Bolton, like
That's normal, is it?
they kind of just did all of the looks that people gave me in the video are genuine. So none of them were actors. But some people, literally, we went into this pub and like two people.
And you were in
turned
a
around.
full kind of Neil Armstrong,
100%.
white American spacesuit, right?
Yeah, and it was big, it was garish, and
Yeah.
some people just took one look at me and just carried on drinking their pint.
Didn't even think about it. I need to go to Bolton. Bolton
Seriously.
sounds like a surreal place.
It really is.
Where people just go, oh, that's normal. Oh, look, there's Lucy Spraggan in a spacesuit. Yeah, mine's half, bruv. All right, fine. Now, I know that it's weird, this, because every interview we can't not talk about 12 years ago. 7 years ago. 7 years ago in 2012, okay? And you selling baby photos or portraits of, not baby photos, that sounds weird, selling baby photos.
It's a bit weird.
Portraits of kids, right? You can have your I'm trying to word this in a
Yeah,
way that
no,
doesn't
it
sound
is.
really weird. Why don't you explain it for me, because I'm doing a rubbish job of
I'm going
it.
to take that off you there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lucy. I'll pass that over
I
to you.
used to be somebody with a clipboard in the street who, like, we sold like packaged baby photo shoots. So
There
like,
you go.
I'm the type of person that you would avoid.
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, your baby's so cute. Do you want to do like a cutest baby competition? And then we got them in, and then they would end up paying loads for baby photos. You know, that kind of horrible feel.
It's useful if you get a
It
great
was work.
portrait out of it.
And you know, I was working in the daytime so that I could like just get to shows at night. So then I just had those hours working that I would go and play shows after that, and then just on the weekends I didn't have to work weekends, so I could go and play my gigs.
So it was always a case that this is what you would do one day. There wasn't a
Yeah.
plan B in that respect.
Well,
It was like,
I went to college to become a firefighter. I did public services, and actually in 2011 I was working as a demolition operative, and I fell from the 4th story of a building. Long story short, I broke my leg.
And
Well, to be fair, if you fall from the fourth
Yes, it
floor,
was-
it's a fairly short story in
was
that respect.
quite
I mean, it
far.
happens quite quickly. Yeah.
I fell with a cherry picker, so I fell on from a height. I know it's a long story.
You were a demolition what?
Operative.
What does that mean?
Just knock down buildings, really, but like salvage things. It was the best job I've ever had. Just smash things up.
So what does this entail then?
Well, taking wires out of places, trying to salvage slate, salvage brick.
What about the actual smashing bit? I wanna
Oh,
get
you
to
just
the-
like literally, I would like run through walls and stuff. It was good fun.
Superb.
Smashing.
So being a demolition operative and then falling 4 floors
Yes.
and breaking your leg.
Yeah. So then my sort of plans for being a firefighter were kind of dashed because I have a weight bearing injury on my leg.
Right.
So that kind of went out the window. And at the time I was doing this competition called Live and Unsigned, which is quite big back in the day. And I did all of those, all of the rounds in a massive leg cast. Well, a cage from my hip to my ankle. And after that, I just wanted to do music. And that was 2011. But I've been writing songs since I was about 10.
How badly did you take it, the fact that you couldn't be a firefighter?
It was bad because, you've got like an idea in your head. Like, obviously, I just spent 2 years at college doing the qualification. And, it was weird because you've had a decision made for you then, because an injury like that, it was supposed to be a lot worse than it is now. It's pretty bad now. But, yeah, I mean, I'm thankful because I'm sitting here with you.
Yeah, of course, 100%. And was it always your intention to go on to X Factor? Had you seen it and thought, right, okay, this is what I want to do?
No, not at all. I got the opportunity to go on and I spoke to them and said, can I do my own songs? And initially they said, yeah. So I went and did the audition and then there was all this sort of like steam about, no, you can't. So I said, well, I'm not doing it because I didn't want to do covers. That's not really... Well, I don't do covers. I do my own songs. And in the end, I ended up being the first person on the show ever to do their own songs. And it was like marketing money couldn't buy, basically.
Yeah.
11 million people every day would watch the show.
And the reaction to that song and the lyrics to that song, how long did it take to write that?
Oh, like not very long. I don't hold it as like one of the best songs I've ever written.
It's not easy to get Flaming Sambucas into a song. I mean, it's not easy to get that to scan with anything, quite frankly.
Barely fits in there. I mean,
and Marry Me and Brandy. I mean, come on.
They're loosely rhyming words.
It was good, though.
It's not my best work.
But it was your personality married to the song, and it showed the world who you were very instantly. In those 3 minutes, you knew, okay, I think I get who Lucy Spraggan is, and that's important. I mean, the judges were like wowed by you.
It was an amazing experience.
Well, you were emotional.
I was totes emotional. I cried a lot. I cry a lot now even. Like, I played Glastonbury a couple of years ago. I've just got Glastonbury again. I'm playing this year. I'm
Amazing.
and I cried on stage there. I've cried on stage a few times. I'm a very emotional person.
Well, I mean, how can you not be if you're a songwriter? We'll come back to you in a moment, but we've just got some breaking news about David Beckham, who has been disqualified from driving for 6 months at Bromley Magistrates Court after receiving 6 points for driving his Bentley while using a mobile phone in London's West End. Just checking. Can someone check with Bentley to see if they've got hands-free? You spend that much money on a car? Wow. Jeez. David Beckham been disqualified for 6 months from driving. All right. Let's go back to you, Lucy. There goes a bit of a random bit of news.
Well,
breaking
there you
news
go.
for you.
I'm glad I was here for that one.
I know. So your numbers, like I said, I mean, 240 million streams.
I didn't know that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Over the last 7 years, that's how long it's been since I was on the show. I've just kept going and kept going and kept going, and I didn't want to lose any momentum. And the amazing supporters that we've accumulated, the people that support me, they literally just keep the whole thing going. And I'm so grateful for them. So thank you, anyone that's tuned in and that is listening.
You've had 4 top 30 albums, 3 of which were self-released.
Yeah, actually, that's true. The last one was number 12. I've got one out right now that was number 8 in the midweek. So
Which is great.
we've got one more day to sell as many as I can.
Today Was a Good Day.
That's it.
Today Was a Good Day is the name of that album, which is out now by Lucy Spraggan. What is it like self-releasing? How difficult is that?
The first one was actually before the X Factor. And then I released one with Columbia. That was my first top 10. And then I released one on my own. That was absolutely appalling and one of the most difficult things I've ever done. I overspent and I didn't know what I was doing.
Right, okay.
And then
Good.
the one after that was a lot easier because you naturally learn from the mistakes that you make the first time around. And then this time round, I'd got to like quite a good position. I got a number 12 record released on my own. And that's where Cooking Vinyl came along, which is the label I'm with now. And they're about as chilled out as I am with regards to like creativity and all that sort of jazz. So I love working with them.
How does music help your mind?
A lot. I write a lot about my mental health. Today Was a Good Day. Itself is about, reflecting on your day and
And taking each day.
And it's really easy to be like, today was so awful when you go to bed, and then carry that on to the next day, or be like, today was really great, and then you've got that come down from the day before. And I like going to bed and thinking, today was, if it was good, I'm like, do you know what? That's a win. It wasn't awful. It wasn't bad. So yeah, that's what this whole album sort of has a vibe about that.
How prone are you to the highs and the lows? Have you managed to find a kind of steady medium in which to live your life?
I do. It's funny really, because the highs and the lows, they just keep happening. I think with me, I'm never
Welcome
really,
to life.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm never really like waiting in the middle. And like, I think what it is about, like what I've learned is just, I don't care about things now that I used to care about. Things that they don't mean anything. I used to chase I really was desperately trying to be nationally playlisted on the radio. I was like desperate for it, so desperate that I was putting myself out. I was writing songs that didn't really mean anything to me, which is just not me. And I kind of relaxed it with this album and just thought, I'm just going to make music that I like. And then BBC Radio 2 come along, put me on their playlist for the first time in my career.
Which is huge, right?
And
Huge.
And do you know what? The highs massively, massively outweigh the lows. I couldn't have said that a few years ago. I was in an awful, awful place, and my music reflected that as well. But I was open about it, and do you know what? Speaking about that and the darkest times I've had have brought so much light out of other people to me. They say such beautiful things, and that for me is cathartic in itself, like to have people say those kind of things.
It's a difficult profession to go into at the best of times. But if there is a fragility at the heart of you, and it's really fascinating how many fragile people are lured towards music, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's to do with creative people in general, isn't it? Because there's no end game. You could set yourself goals if you're an artist, but then, you get there and then you've already got another million things that you want to do. And I feel like you're forever chasing something that doesn't really exist, if that sounds a bit overly philosophical, maybe.
No, it's not. It's exactly how it is, right? So then have you come to terms with that list? So to say, actually, I don't need the list. I just need to just have a win every day? Or
well, for me, success is completely relative, isn't it? It's I used to think success was these like boxes that you ticked off, arenas and all the rest of that sort of like show business. And then I woke up one day and was like, do you know, I actually feel really successful in my own right. I'm a musician as a job. I get to travel the world. I get to meet amazing people and have these amazing opportunities. And I wake up in these places and just think, my music's got me here. And for me, I think that was a turning point. I started to think, my life is really, really great, and I feel very successful. I'm 27, and like I just feel like I'm chomping at the bit. I just want to do more.
I just wanna sit with you tonight, watching the sunset. I listen to every word you say. I hang on your last breath. I watch you get undressed, 'cause I think you're perfect. The moonlight kills
Lucy Spraggan is here. That was the title track of the new album. Today was a good day. How's the beer, bread and biscuits thing coming along? Still avoiding?
I'd like to say yes, but when I'm on tour, that totally goes out the window. It's so hard to eat well on the road. And it's hard.
Everything's bread related.
Everything is bread related. Like, I'm terrible. When I'm at home, I'm much better. But me and Josh we travel the world together. It's worse when we're as like the full band, but when me and Josh travel together, we are the worst for each other. We're like, we'll literally be like, should we have a beer? And he's like, what? And I'm like, what? Who said what? Who said that? And then, yeah, we're bad for each other.
I see. Okay, so there's, out of the two of you, not a single one of you are the ones that has the power to say no.
No, absolutely not.
Because what was that all about? I mean, giving up beer, bread and biscuit. I mean, you lost 2 stone.
Yeah, I just recognised that they were the things that were making me fat. So I had to just stop. Like beer, it's so calorific, but it's my favourite. But now
You have a right to be happy.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Well, that's the thing. Everything in moderation, isn't it? But that's the difficulty with me.
There's so many fresh orange juices you can have at 3:00 in the morning after the after party.
Well, that's also a thing. Like after a show, you're obviously on such a high.
Cool.
You just played to a few, like we did, like round here, we did Manchester Academy in October. It's like 3,000 people. It's absolutely nuts when you come off, and you just think you kind of got to keep it. Your body wants to keep going. So like naturally you grab a beer or a red wine if you're off the beer.
Yes. Oh, right. Okay.
Just as bad.
I'm giving up beer, biscuits and
wine.
and red, but I'm going to go wine and kebabs as a way of replacing
as long
that.
as there's no bread.
As long as there's no bread in the kebabs. Why did you kind of feel like you needed to do that? Was it kind of health reasons, or was it because you were, you're photographed and there's videos to do, although you wore a spacesuit in the last one. So
well,
I mean, why?
The thing is, I was literally, just before I came in here, I was tagged in a picture from about 5 or 6 years ago. And you can see how unhappy I was then. And my unhappiness for me is like so closely related to the way I look. You can really see it. So I was bloated, I looked tired, I was eating badly because like when I was in my most depressed part of my life, I would just do anything. It didn't matter what was going into my body. It didn't matter if I was getting any exercise. I didn't care. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't even want to be around people. So like, and I didn't tell anyone. I think for me it was just punishing my body really, and like the alcohol as well. I would just go out and just drink and drink and drink and drink. And I think a lot of the way I looked was because I was drinking so much, and then I was having hangovers, and then I was eating the hangovers away, and then I was getting drunk again to replace the anxiety. And it's just a perpetual cycle. And once you realise what you're doing, you have to get out of that like darkness and depression.
Yeah.
You realise it once you start to make a difference with those things, it's so much easier to stay off that. But when I get sad, I'll have to go and get pizza or something. Go and have some biscuits. Go and have some bread.
What would life be without a pizza?
Exactly.
Was this self-generated help, or did you have to see someone to help you?
I've spoken quite honestly about this. Like really, I don't mind saying it. In 2014, I went to crash my car on the motorway at high speed. I just felt like I couldn't do anything anymore. My brain went completely into a soup, and I was hysterically crying, just put my foot down, just shut my eyes. It was like 7:00 in the morning, and my dog was next to me. My dog sneezed, and in that last final sort of moment where I was about to turn the wheel, the dog sneezed, and I just went straight onto the hard shoulder and just cried my eyes out. And that moment I just was like, I need to see somebody. And I started off, I went to the doctor initially and was like, I just can't, I don't know what I'm going to do because I feel like I'm going to kill myself. And then I went to see a CBT person initially, and now I see a therapist and speak to a therapist like once every 2 weeks. It amazes me. I said this earlier as well. It amazes me that we drive cars around, which you could easily kill somebody with a car. You could easily kill yourself in a car. You've got to take your car for an MOT every year by law. Yeah. But we don't have any law to say you could go and get your head looked at, go and get somebody to see if you're all right. And more than every year, like it. And I wish somebody had checked on me, like, and I'm glad that I'm here now because I want to help check on other people.
Yeah. And it's great that this is ongoing for you, that, you understand that you can't do it on your own. And how has this person or people helped unpick?
Oh, I think it's about talking. You just talk. If you talk about how you feel, you're right when you say unpick. You start to untangle the different threads that have wrapped themselves around each other so badly. It's like a parachute coming down and the parachute getting all twisted up. As soon as you can get those lines free, you're going to be gliding, because when you talk, you think. And to have somebody pick those bits apart, and I talked about self-punishment, to have somebody say, you don't need to do that. Here's the reason why that's okay for you to feel like that. And you go, oh yeah, actually, yeah, that's true. And the more you do that, the more you can learn to love yourself. It's so much easier to live.
But because, of course, you're doing this still every 2 weeks, Lucy, what are the interventions you have in place if you feel as though you are edging towards that dark place again?
Yeah, well, that's some of what we talk about, is learning to be able to tackle that on my own, not use other people as crutches, which I've done throughout my whole life.
Yeah.
So I'm learning to be able to tackle these things on my own, not feel like I have to go and drink myself into a hole or eat myself into a oblivion.
Yeah.
It's all just about learning about yourself, and that would be my advice to anybody, is like, just speak to anyone. It doesn't even have to be, if you're in that place. It's so hard to pull yourself out, but speaking has changed everything for me.
Does your guitar speak?
Not to me personally.
Yeah. I mean, in the sense that you need your guitar as an extension of who you are, and the sounds that come out of your guitar soothe you in some way, give you some kind of direction, help.
I think, songwriting does for me, and my guitar is a part of that, or a piano is a part of that, instrumentation in general. Music.
You play every day?
Yeah, I would say I play every day. I got a piano in my house, so now I can't walk past it without playing it, which is incredibly annoying for everybody else in the house. I'm not that good yet, but it's cathartic. It's music. I don't know what the world would be without music, really. It can change things in an instant, can't it?
Yeah. I interviewed the rapper Dave for Love Music, Hate Racism, the website, and he said, without music, I don't think I really exist, which I thought was a profound thing. I mean, he's, 19 or 20? Oh. But he said that, without music, I just don't think I exist.
That is really,
That's profound.
That's kind of got me thinking.
Yeah, it is.
It's true. And the things that I know what music does for me. I know what other people's music does for me. I listen to songs and I can go somewhere else. I can hear a song and I can go back 10 years. It's immediate, isn't it? And so music, I want to write music that does that for other people too.
But it is a job as well. So in that respect, you need a break from your job. So for me, consuming your music is pleasure, right? So, but for you, making music is something that pays the bills and gives you a lifestyle that you want to have. So what do you do that gets you away from music?
I go fishing.
Seriously?
Yeah, I love fishing. Carp fishing.
You and Sam Fender would get on
really?
well.
Does he fish?
Well, he's obsessed with, is it Robson Green? It's one of those extreme fishing.
Yeah,
he's obsessed with that TV show.
Robson Green, what a legend.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's obsessed with that. Is he the one who does the fishing show?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with that.
But he doesn't fish?
Maybe he does. I can't remember in the interview. I've interviewed him a couple of times, Sam Fender.
Well, if he doesn't fish and he does fancy it, tell him this.
So how often do you get a chance to go and fish?
Not that often, and the season's obviously been in the wrong season, but the right season is coming up. So I'm just.
Do you go into the sea or just hanging about in the river?
When I lived in Brighton, I used to mackerel fish like all the time. People would come. Yeah, honestly. And then now carp. I haven't done any fly fishing that I really want to learn if anyone wants to teach me. But I caught a sturgeon a couple of months ago, which is like the highlight of my life. One of.
That's quite a... See, I'm such an idiot when it comes to fishing. That's quite a big fish, right? A sturgeon.
They can be huge, yeah. Mine wasn't that big.
Is that like a caviar fish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is indeed.
Oh, I couldn't hear how he's changed. Comprehensive school boy from Essex knows his caviar. I know me caviar.
But they're very powerful fish, and it was.
Where were you fishing for a sturgeon?
Well, we know this place, this little secret fishing spot that's like stocked with amazing fish. I can't believe I'm talking about this on national radio.
This is brilliant.
And yeah, up there they've got so many different species in that pond, and it's lush. I love it.
Because I thought I'd done my research on you, but the fishing didn't come up, I have to say.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's pretty much because for me, you're focusing so much on watching that float, or waiting for any movement, or waiting for your bait alarm to go off, and then there's nothing else. In my mind, I'm thinking about catching that fish. I'm thinking about feeding the swim. I'm thinking about making sure that I'm going to land that fish, and I've got everything ready, and there's nothing else in my head. My phone's not on. Got a little sandwich, well, unless I'm not eating bread.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And it's just tranquil and it's beautiful.
Lucy, I never thought we'd end this interview on you fishing, but that's amazing. That shows the randomness of where these can go. Today was a good day. The album is out now. It could well be top 10 if you get involved. And if you loved what you heard, today was a good day. That is the name of the album. Go stream that. Go get that. Go wherever you buy your CDs from and get involved. Great to see you, Lucy.
Thank you so much. It's been my favourite interview ever. Actually.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Yes. Love that. Well, we'll get you in again then. Yeah. Definitely for that kind of compliment. I'll take that 100%. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you've heard, hit subscribe. And we'd love you to rate and review Headliners as well.